Hola chicos, bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Joani. The word lo in Spanish can have a variety of different meanings depending on the context. However, today I want to make you aware of one very useful use of the word lo in Spanish, and that's when you want to make general statements. So what exactly does that mean? Well, to give you an example, in English, what we'd normally do is we would use the word what. So to give you an example, if I want to make a general statement like what's difficult about learning Spanish is, or what's bad about learning Spanish is, or what's good about learning Spanish is. So notice how in those three examples, I'm always starting off with the word what in English. Now in Spanish, we'd actually use the word lo. Por ejemplo, lo difícil de aprender español es que la gente habla muy rápido. Lo difícil de aprender español es que la gente habla muy rápido. So what's difficult about learning Spanish is that the people speak very fast. Let's try another example. Lo bueno de aprender español es que tenemos la oportunidad de conocer a mucha gente diferente. Lo bueno de aprender español es que tenemos la oportunidad de conocer a mucha gente diferente. So what's good about learning Spanish is that we have the opportunity to meet a lot of different people. So I hope those two examples help clarify the message I'm trying to get across to you in terms of making general statements like these in Spanish. So what is the next step? So the next step is to break it down grammatically so that you actually know what to say when you go out there in your next few conversations in Spanish and you start to say these types of statements. So grammatically speaking, what we do, as I mentioned before, is we start off by saying lo, and then we can use words like bueno, difícil, peor, mejor, or malo. We then say de, and then if we're using a verb straight after that, we'd always use it in its infinitive form like we did in those other two examples. Now, before we move on to some more examples, just a quick reminder, if you are getting any value from these videos, I would really appreciate it if you'd consider hitting that like button, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. All right, let's try another example now. Lo mejor de vivir en Australia es el estilo de vida. Lo mejor de vivir en Australia es el estilo de vida. So what's best about living in Australia is the lifestyle. Before we move on, if we break this down grammatically, you'll see again that we're starting off with lo. And in this case, we're using mejor de, and then we've got the verb vivir, to live, but again, notice how we're leaving it in its infinitive form, and that gives us the structure to be able to move on to the rest of the statement. Let's try another example. Lo peor de vivir en Australia es que está lejos de Europa. Lo peor de vivir en Australia es que está lejos de Europa. So what's worst about living in Australia is that it's very far from Europe. Nice work, everyone. I think that's starting to make sense now, but let's try one more example. Hoy en día, lo malo del mundo es que pasamos demasiado tiempo en las redes sociales. Hoy en día, lo malo del mundo es que pasamos demasiado tiempo en las redes sociales. So nowadays, what's bad about the world is that we spend too much time on social media. Now, moving forward, before we finish, I'm going to give you one exercise to do, so you know the drill. I'll give you a sentence in English, and I want you to translate it for me into Spanish. I'll give you 10 seconds, but as always, if you need more time, feel free to hit pause on the video. So, in Spanish, how would you say, what's difficult about studying Spanish is the pronunciation. So what's difficult about studying Spanish is the pronunciation. This time you'd say, lo difícil de estudiar español es la pronunciación. Lo difícil de estudiar español es la pronunciación. Great work, everyone. So as per normal, if I can help with anything else, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or a question in the comment section below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hasta pronto.